Hey guys, today we're going to talk about how to find, or the formulas that you're going to use to find perimeter and area of different shapes. Okay, remember, perimeter is just going to be the distance around any given shape. Okay, so the distance around any given shape. If you wanted to find the area, you'd just be calculating all of the mass or units that are inside of that shape. Okay, so we're going to take a look at these and figure out the formulas for each one and do a few examples of each kind. Okay, so if you were looking at a rectangle, if you wanted the perimeter, you would multiply, let's zoom in a little bit. For the perimeter, or the distance around the whole shape, you would multiply 2 times the length plus the width. Okay, you'd multiply 2 times the length plus the width. If you wanted to find the area, it would just be length times width. Okay, perimeter 2 times length plus width, area length times width for a rectangle. Okay, if you wanted to do a triangle, your perimeter would be A plus B plus C, or adding up all the 3 sides. Your area would be 1/2 the base times the height, or times the height. Okay, so those two things would give you the perimeter and the area. Okay, now let's go ahead and get a working definition of what base and what height mean. Okay, base of a triangle, that's what we're talking about. We're going to talk about triangles. Base is any side of a triangle. Any side of a triangle. Okay, and its height is a segment from a vertex that forms a right angle with the base. Okay, a segment from a vertex that forms a right angle with the base is what the height is. Okay, now that we've got these working definitions going, let's just go ahead and work on a couple of examples on how we would find the perimeter and the area of each of these figures here. Okay, so for example 1, we're going to find the perimeter and the area of each of these figures. So for example 1, we want to find the area. Remember, the area is just length times width. Okay, so this time it's just 6 times 4. So your area would be 24 units. Or inches squared, sorry. Okay, 24 inches squared. If you wanted to find the perimeter, you would do your 2 times length plus 2 times width. So you could do, or you could do 2 times length plus width, so it would be 6 plus 4. 6 plus 4 is 10, and then 2 times 10 gives you 20. Okay, so that's your perimeter and area for the first rectangle. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to this triangle over here. Let's go ahead and start with the perimeter. So you're just going to add up all the sides. So that gives you x plus 4 plus 5x plus 6. Then if you combine all like terms, x plus 5x gives you 6x. And then 4 plus 6 gives you 10. Okay, so your perimeter would be 6x plus 10 units. Right? So that's perimeter. Let's go ahead and find our area. Remember, area is 1/2 base times height. Okay, we know that our height, or our base, is going to be 6, so we're going to plug that in. And then our height, of course, is going to be this guy, or x plus 4. Okay, then we multiply 1/2 times 6, that just gives us 3. Then we're going to distribute that to x plus 4. Okay, 3 times x gives us 3x, and 3 times 4 gives you 12. Okay, so your answer would be 3x plus 12 units squared. Make sure you put your units squared on the end. Alright, we're on to example 3. And it says the queen's quilt block includes 12 blue triangles. The base and height of each triangle are about 4 inches. Find the approximate amount of fabric used to make the 12 triangles. Okay, so let's go ahead and find the area of one of the triangles using our formula. Area equals 1/2 base times height. Okay, and we know that the height and the base are 4. So here's our picture. The height and the base are 4. So we know it's 1/2, 4 times 4. One half times 4 gives us 2, and 2 times 4 gives us 8. So we know the area of 1 gives us 8 inches squared, and we know since we have 12 triangles, we're going to do 12 times 8, which of course gives us 96 inches squared. Okay, so you will need 96 inches squared to make 12 of the queen's blue triangles. Alright, let's take a look at the last one on this page. Okay, so it's find the amount of fabric used to make 4 rectangles. Each rectangle has a length of 6.5 inches and a width of 2.5 inches. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this guy. So we need to find the area of these rectangles, and our area equals length times width. So if you have 16.5, if you have 6.5 for the length times 2.5 for the width, that gives you 16 1/4, or 16.25 inches squared for one of the 4 rectangles. And then if you multiply 16.25 times 4, that's going to give you 65 inches squared for all 4 rectangles. Okay, go ahead and take a look through all these 4 examples, and if you're good to go ahead and move on. Alright, now we're going to talk a little bit about circles, but first I got a little joke for you. What are the blonde's first words after 4 years of college? Think about it. Think about it. Would you like fries with that? Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about circles, and we're going to set up different terms that are related to circles and their formulas for finding the area and such. Okay, so first thing you need to know about circles. I know these aren't really circles, they're more like eggs, but pretend they're circles. Okay, so the word I want you to recognize first is diameter. What the diameter is just the length all the way across the circle. Okay, so that's diameter. Now, radius is just going to be half the length of the diameter. It's only from the middle of the circle all the way to the edge. So your radius is half the length of your diameter. The last is the circumference. circumference. What the circumference is the distance all the way around the edge of the circle. Okay, you're measuring all the way around the edge of the circle. Okay, now we need to go ahead and establish some formulas. Okay, so if you want to find the area of a circle, the formula is going to be pi times the radius squared. Okay, area is the pi times the radius squared, and then your circumference can either be pi times diameter, or it can be 2 pi r. Okay, so those are ones that are often used. Depending on what part of the circle that they give you in your problems, you can use either one of those. Okay, so let's take a look at these two problems. It asks us to find the circumference and area of a circle with radius 8, and it says use the pi key on your calculator, then round the nearest answer to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so let's find the circumference. We know circumference is 2 pi r. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug in our different pieces. We know that pi is 3.14, and we know that the radius is 8, so we have 2 times pi times 8, and if you multiply all those out, that gives you 16 pi, or 50.3 centimeters. Okay, so that's your circumference. Let's find our area, which we know to be pi r squared. Okay, and we know that pi, we're going to plug that in, and then our radius is 8. Then we have 64 pi, because 8 times 8 is 64. And then if you do 64 pi on your calculator, that gives you 201.1 centimeters squared. Okay, so you're just plugging numbers into your different circle formulas, and then you're done. Okay, we're going to take a look at one more example. It says find the circumference and area of a circle with 28 meters as the diameter. Okay, remember we know that the diameter is all the way across the circle. So let's go ahead and set up our formulas. Remember, circumference is 2 pi r. Okay, so we know that the radius is half of the diameter, so half of the radius would be, or half of the diameter would be 14. So let's go ahead and plug that in. We have 2 times pi. We're going to plug in our radius, which is half of 28, which is 14. 2 pi times 14 gives you 28 pi. And if you plug that in on your calculator, that gives you 88 meters. Okay, so that would be the circumference of your circle. Now, if you wanted to find the area, you know the area to be pi r squared. And remember earlier we found our radius to be 14, so we're just going to plug her on in. Pi times 14 squared. And that gives you 14 times 14 is 196. So you have 196 pi. If you plug that in on your calculator, that gives you 615.8 meters squared. Okay? Now I want you to look at this lesson quiz. There's 3 questions. You should be able to answer these based on the notes you've received. See ya.